Yo, internet, how's it going? I like Wreck-It Ralph. And there's a thing that I like about the trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2, like when they went to the internet. And then there was that whole thing of like, you have all the Disney princesses just in a room, just casually hanging out and whatnot, that kind of thing. And there was something magical about that I really loved. And I'm only saddened by the fact that when I look at live action Disney, all that magic just is gone. And it's not even the fact that they're even making Halle Bailey like Ariel, a black woman, like they're making her Ariel and whatnot. And that people are basically just all these black people are just eating it up by just saying like, this is a good thing. And they're making every excuse under the sun to try and justify the change and make it possible, because we've been saying this for a good while now, or at least I've been seeing this like happen with characters that kind of have been around for like a long while, like that. They kind of justify the fact like, like these characters, like they've been told this way for so long, well, let's just change them. Or better yet, most people like that, they're not in the public eye anymore, so they just change something about them just to kind of pander to somebody else. And yeah, with how I feel about that, I kind of just look at it for basically the joke that it is, because that kind of only screams that black people would just about eat up anything if like they'll get their point across to get their quote unquote representation, because either A, that means that black people are either too lazy to make their own characters, or B, they don't want to make their own characters and they just want to just piggyback off of what already exists. So, that kind of thing. But speaking on that, the other news thing that I wanted to get off my chest, because believe me, I will get back to talking about gaming news and playing video games upon the channel. Just certain things I have gotten like kind of bother me a bit, and this one bothered me the most. It was Lashana Lynch, a black woman, is taking over as 007. It's about time. As we already know, like that, talks of Idris Elba playing the next James Bond have been floating around for like the longest while now. And to a certain extent, I can kind of understand, well now, because I read the article and the idea of it was that this is supposed to be the new age 007 for girls and everybody else to kind of look up to and be like, yeah, like anybody can be a super agent, that kind of thing. Trying to empower women to say that they can be strong and powerful, and on top of that, she's a black woman too. You know what I mean? Another flip side of that too was like that the reason why Daniel Craig didn't want to come back, because he said that 007 actually overshadowed a lot of the roles in which that he's done in his career. So that's why he doesn't want to come back. And they also use Sean Connery as a means for that, but Sean Connery, I know most of his movies like The Rock, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, even the Highlander series, most of those overshadow his James Bond appearances, even though he was one of the few people like that kind of like spoke out about this and was like, yeah, like it overshadows my career. I don't necessarily believe that. But back on to what them doing with this new 007. The fact like that, number one, they're making 007 a black female in the first place. That's already a problem. But also it kind of leeches on this side. It kind of helps my little piggybacking argument, because of the simple fact of like the only agents in which that I believe that popped up in movies. Now I could be wrong, because I do know that 006 popped up in movies, and I believe also 008. But like looking into the novels, there's actually upwards of 13 00 agents, going from 001 all the way to 0013, which if you really think about it, like that does make sense, because why would there only be a 007 James Bond? But also I do understand that this is the Casino Royale like continuity, so basically they're just giving the 00 title to different people, which to a certain extent, yes, I do understand like that's not as bad as, hey man, like you're giving the title to like this random black woman, right? The point that I'm making is that if you got that, then give her another 00 title, because then it would make a way more sense than just, well, now James Bond was a thing, right? If we can't make him a black man, we'll just bite the bullet and just make him a black woman for the kids, you know, that kind of thing. Getting on from that though, the only real problem that kind of comes about from this, it is the fact that representation is literally the number one driving force that is pushing these actions that are kind of killing just about every good idea that these people could have, you know, because having a 00 agent who was a female, I mean, you know, that's not a bad idea. Problem is that you want her to take the title of 007. What's wrong with 008? What's wrong with 009? What's wrong with 0010? Like, those numbers are higher than 7. Or if you wanted to do the reverse, you could have made her 001. You know, like, if that's what you wanted to do, but you didn't do that. You just said, you know what? James Bond, he's 007. He's the most iconic thing there. I'm just going to go from there. I've seen it happen in films, or at least it's happening in the live action films now. And I've seen it happen in comics. The first time I've actually noticed it was when they made Alan Scott and they rewrote his character to make him gay, or them changing Bobby Drake back in the X-Men to make him gay, or at the very least, like, of them, or at least like in the media too, like in the media with how they treated the new Hellboy and whatnot, where they swapped out the Irish character Alice and then just made her a black woman. Or like how that they just changed Starfire, like in the Teen Titans show and whatnot. You know, you see them doing that in you see them doing that now with Ariel, you know, or them going back and redoing like most of these older films and whatnot, like Mulan and Lion King and whatnot, and they're losing the magic that actually made you want to watch these movies in the first place, because all of it's gone. You know, like, there's no reason for anybody to go back and look at these movies and kind of share it with their children. I mean, regardless of how people feel about Ghostbusters, you know what I mean? It's like, the reality of it is that they made a very inferior product to what the original was. You know, a very unfunny mess that has no personality, like, that's just a comedic film, you know? I mean, because it's really sad to me that basically, like, that for as much of a failure as what like Ghostbusters 2 was, or at least for what the cast in question, like what they said, like Ghostbusters 2, like that man was a failure. It took them making a video game and changing it to give us a proper Ghostbusters 3. You know what I mean? And then it's like, wait a second, you know, like, we're gonna just redo the entire cast with women because girl power, you know. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel about it, but hopefully the movies like that, they turn out somewhat okay. But until then, though, that is what I gotta say about that. I'll catch you guys on the next Jongravesshow. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you like these videos, please hit the like button, share this on some sites, and hit that bell, and I'll see you next time. Later.